I ask myself, is this shit real? I contemplate about how I feel.
One.
Hello.
All right, welcome. This is Shango.
And I'm Malika. And
this,
we're the, how do we say it again? And this is the Marriage Cave. Woo.
Yes.
Yeah, so back at you again with another banger.
Yep.
You know, another banger.
Another one for the ones.
So, let's get into it. Alright, so Hafeez. The red pill community has been going ham on our boy Hafeez, bro. Like, they've been shitting on him. Oh my gosh.
They've been coming hard. So it's Hafeez from the Roommates and Just Pearly Things had a fire debate.
Boom. Like, it was crazy because everywhere you go it says Hafeez lost the debate, Hafeez lost the debate. And we're here to give you another perspective because I wouldn't say he lost.
I don't believe he lost. I think there's things we can talk about that we need to go over on that.
Yeah, let's do it now. So, all right. First off, I want to talk about Miss Pearly Things. Before this conversation with Hafeez, I actually listened to a lot of her content. She is someone who is a red pill, pretty much content creator, but she's a woman. So she's capitalizing, y'all. Let's listen to some of her ideals.
This was Pearl's world. I'd get rid of birth control. I'd ban it, but that'll never happen.
A lot of the men won't like that. A lot of the men, that's my guy right here. He said, "Hell no."
I don't think women should vote.
Huh?
I don't think women should vote.
Lord Jesus, keep on going.
Yeah, that's
no
it.
women, you can't vote. No birth control. Keep it going.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Women shouldn't vote. What do you say to that, sir?
Yeah. You see, stuff like that makes me think, lets me know that, all right, do you mean what you say? No,
Right.
you can't. Because, a woman that shouldn't vote, shouldn't do birth control, it's like, come on now. Because obviously you don't have any kids, and you can't project to say, hey, I don't think anyone should have that. It's like, you never had kids? What is that about?
A lot of times, too, when you and that's the thing with, I feel like sometimes if she's a woman red pill creator, I've never heard a red pill man say that women shouldn't vote. I've never heard a red pill man say that women shouldn't be able to get birth control, that birth control should be illegal. She's like, it's kind of like Hitler, wasn't he part Jewish? Well, I think that's what made him so crazy.
Yeah, something like that.
It's kind of like she's a woman and she's like twice as bad as the men. She doesn't think women should be able to vote. I mean, what a nutcase.
Yeah, that's something funny with Hitler because I think he got rejected by a Jewish art school, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of maybe she got rejected by women or something in that community, and I was like, you know what?
It's good that it's funny you should say that. She not only got rejected by women, but mostly by men. By her own admission, if you go to her channel and you watch her video titled "Why I Used to Hate Men," she goes into this whole spill about how she didn't get a lot of attention from men. And so, she went on to say that she almost got taken advantage of by an older gentleman who she trusted. And, so then after that, she found out he was doing it to a whole bunch of other young girls. And she got the man fired from his job and all these different things. But point blank is she didn't get a lot of attention from men, which made her vulnerable to that type of advance from a man because they could kind of see it written on your forehead. A lot of times men do take advantage of women that they can tell have low self-esteem or seek male validation. And so now she gets all the male validation she wants.
There's not enough of them. Like you mentioned in the video, there's not enough female red pill content creators. So she's got a gold mine there. You wouldn't see them.
She is the male validation and the money. You know, I think that's what she's doing.
Those viewpoints like that does let me know that, all right, you are doing something. He's going to get to the next one when we say pandering. That's the big example right there.
Yeah, let's roll that film. So Hafeez calls her out on that.
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you, bro. Here is my only criticism of female content creators such as yourself.
Okay.
If I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't want to ever say anything behind your back, which I won't say to your face. I feel like you guys are pandering. I feel like you guys are pandering to a certain community of men who freaking it's Pornhub, OnlyFans, red pill female content creators are all that gets them going.
Okay. Like to me, and if you make these comments about and as a woman, it's like, like I said, you gotta be pandering. I'm gonna say it straight up. He doubles back and it's like, oh, and that's another thing I'm gonna get on him about that. When you double back and say, I don't know your content, and then it's like, well, find out that you listen, so you can say straight up, because this is why these people saying that he may have lost because he's double backing. It's like, oh, not you, not you. It's like, well, yes, her. And I'm going on based on what she's saying.
Right.
To make me believe, yeah, you know, because what kind of woman does believe that?
If you go on her show, why wouldn't you watch her content? Because I've seen a lot of her content to know what you're dealing with. And so when you backtalk yourself like that, people are going to say you lost. Now, we tend to, we agree more with Hafeez, but I feel like Pearl got him in the arguing sense. Like, she's very intelligent as far as her takedowns. You notice that she answered a question with a question. When he called her out for pandering, she was like, so you don't think you don't believe...
You think I believe what I'm saying?
You don't believe... Yeah, what did she say?
You don't think I believe in what I'm saying?
All right, let's roll it.
You said pandering, so you think I don't actually believe any of this?
No.
Because that's what, when I hear pandering, I look that up because people say that a lot.
Yeah.
And it basically means you just say things because you don't believe it.
Whenever I see... Not saying you, remember I told you this, I don't watch a lot of your content, so I don't know it. But whenever I see those pro-male, female content creators, and I see like they always have the same male talking points, and there's no uniquely feminine talking points that men won't agree with, but she stands in that because she is a woman and her ideas are different. Sometimes I wonder, is this person fully communicating how they feel, or are they at times pandering because they understand that by communicating this way to this audience, I'm able to do better.
So yeah, case in point, he doubles back. This is probably because someone can get out argued. Like, there's people that skilled in that. That's just don't mean you win an argument. It's just the other person not quite on that level. They may be more, I'm based on honest. I want to go straight, and people have tactics. But at the very least, you have to come with some strategies to know what you're talking about when you're speaking, so you don't have to double back. Because if you listen clearly, you can be like, yeah, all you get based on what she's saying is like, well, yeah, you pandering, because you can't. Do you really believe that? Because Well,
that's the thing, is that people have strategies how they can trip you up. For example, answering a question with a question. I can throw you off. So like, she'll throw him off and then make him re-explain himself, and he takes entirely too long to explain himself. And so at this point, he lost his initial point. Because the initial point that he was making is, since you are a woman, why is it that you don't have a more feminine perspective? Why is it that you agree 100% with what these red pill men have to say? You mean to tell me that you don't have any opinions that differ from these red pill men? You agree with everything that they say, and you don't have any unique opinions? Because he told us, like, you believe that men and women are different. He knows she says that all the time. Men and women are different. So why is it that you're a woman and you agree with everything point for point that these red pill content creators are saying?
Yeah.
And she never gave him a clear answer.
Clearly not. And I can tell he's passionate. It's like people that's passionate speakers and things. I'll be guilty of it sometimes myself. And I'm learning from him by looking at that in terms of sticking to your point and curtailing, that explosive, like, wait a minute, and blah, 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 blah stuff. It's like, jumping out the box when somebody makes something that really, really gets at you. And so that when you're talking, because then people use that against you.
Right. All of a sudden they're saying that he's passionate and like he's too emotional. Whatever they were saying about him.
Passionate and too emotional is different things. You can be passionate about what you believe, but you still have to put that in order.
Out of all the videos I saw, like, putting Hafeez down, I never seen them really just go into a lot of the content that he was saying. He made so many valid points throughout that 2 hour, throughout that 2 hour dialogue.
Most we agree with. A lot of things.
Mostly we agree with. And many a times she sidestepped him and she did not directly answer him. Like, her answer to why she doesn't have a more feminine perspective, since she is a woman, as opposed to agreeing with the men, is, oh, it's my dad. I agree, it's just my dad. That's it. She didn't really go any further than that. And he was like, well, don't you have a mom? And she's like, yeah, that's, but then again, she took him somewhere else and just changed the subject again. And he bit the bait every single time. Like, she was able to pretty much redirect him, to the way that she wanted the conversation to go, and sidestep the things that he was saying. Like, he even mentioned something about marriage, if the marriage rate is dropping. But not only is the marriage rate dropping, the divorce rate is also dropping
with that. So
there's some correlations there where we can break this apart and say, well, let's look at the divorce rate that's dropping. It might actually be a good thing. And there's so many implications there. We can't get deep into it right now for the sake of the video.
Yeah.
However, that's something that we should study further that would probably, turn out better marriage rates instead of, attacking women or attacking men.
Right. If you talk about the whole story. And I did like that you said that. I didn't like that she blew past it. I didn't like that he didn't, stick with her on that. Because that's what I think these men, as a man, you're like, well, let me kind of stick with you.
Stick to your point.
Stick to your point.
Yeah.
Until she answers and getting that. If she double back and say, look, I don't want to talk about it, like, all right, cool. But at least you're not going all over the place. Because that was a really great point, and that can help. Because we do need to know why these rates dropping like that and the marriage. We could say anything about, like, maybe people aren't getting married more, so that brings it, so it will never change. It's different things. But at least if we're talking about that, that's a whole good topic.
Yeah, I think because less people are getting married, then that might be a good thing for marriage in general, because the divorce rate is going down, meaning that the people who are getting married actually want to be married.
And we talk about that a lot.
So many people used to feel pressured into getting married because of societal standards. And so now, if you don't want to get married, just don't. And so that way, marriage doesn't lose its validity because less people are getting divorced.
Messing up, doing all these things because they didn't want to be there, so they're free to make their own choices. That's a good thing. So,
but this is a conversation that they never got to have.
Because now it's like a he, she, this divorce, your fault divorce, this woman's fault, man's fault. It's like, well, if you talk about people that are not getting married, maybe people shouldn't get married if they're not ready or can't do it anyway, and that's okay. They could have talked about it, but
Yeah, but she completely blew past that. And so that wasn't something that I thought was good, and he let her go with that. So I would say he dropped the ball there. However, I still think I still agree with his points. You know what I mean? It's like he compared her to Pornhub and to OnlyFans, and it was a little disrespectful. However, I understand the point that he was making is that, like, you're really getting these men off. You're not necessarily challenging them to see the fault in their own actions or to see what the woman's perspective is in all of this red pill stuff. It just becomes an echo chamber. And he called it that himself. He said, look, it's an echo chamber, and all you're doing is capitalizing off of it.
And as a woman doing that, people tend to think you are making a sale. Because you do have to, it's a right to believe in a lot of these red pill points. I think you do too a lot of times.
Yeah, some of the red pill stuff, I
makes sense.
I have compassion.
Talk about it. It's your compassion.
I have compassion.
But if it's only that and there's no female perspective, it do got a question. Because you got to have one in terms of dating and being a woman that dates men. It's like, hey, this ain't right. Because even with the no voting, no birth control, now there's a reason why women have certain rights. Because you got to admit, as a man, there are abusive men out there.
Right.
And so there's things that happen for a reason. Why these women have a lot of rights and different things. And so you putting that in perspective. For you, if you want to be a stay-at-home housewife and don't have a lot of kids without birth control and want to vote, fine. And hope you find the right guy that can take care of and treat you right. Some women is different things for that. So that's just my take on it. I mean, I know things have to be fair.
That kind of gets me into this point. Number one, she's not married, and so she speaks a lot on marriage when she's not married. Hafeez is married, so he has a bit more of plight to actually talk about marriage. She's never experienced marriage, and so to have these things where, I don't believe women should have birth control. Now, wait a minute, sweetheart. If you've never been married, then it's like, okay, we might have to space out these children. Once you become a mother, and a wife first and then a mother, then you would know maybe birth control is necessary to make sure that you give your children the best quality of life to where they have enough space in between. Now, it's hard for me to say that because our kids are right on top of each other. But
you know that now about having these kids.
Right, because I've actually been in a position. Yeah. So for a woman who's never been married and doesn't have any children, she has a lot to say, and I think she should stay in her lane. But she is in her lane. Her lane is red pill. She only caters to whatever the red pill community says, and she's making a lot of money. So I think she's very intelligent, and she's also being made rich. She has both the male validation and the money that she's seeking. And these men, I'm surprised because some of them are very articulate, and they're not dummies. Not all of them. It's just there's certain aspects I think they haven't figured out about masculinity. The fact that they're complaining and bitching like women are, that's probably why they had problems with women in the first place, because women don't respect that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, a lot of these guys, I do have compassion. I understand how the law could not be in their favor in some regards. So.
Yeah, we all know that equally in aspects. It's both sides that can have problems. And the men that are on this red pill, like I said, intelligent, educated, they have their good points. But they only everybody's looking at it one sided. It is going to be a problem. I think that's why Hafeez is trying to say both sides, and any real balanced person would do that. Now, if you've been hurt and you're only looking at your pain, and women do that too. We look at different sides.
We do it more.
Yeah, and do it more because of the feminine emotion, and so we supposed to do it less, but it's happening because, different regards. So masculine and femininity, we do have to explore that and keep that both sides strong. I mean, a lot of things I think he said about statistics, and that people throw stats out there. And we had an example that we talked about. It was an example of like with black men that they go to college, but it was a whole wide range perspective. We're going past men up to 50. It's a whole.
Well, I'll break that down a little further. As far as it was a documentary called "Black People Can't Read" or "Black People Don't Read," one of the two. I think is it "Black People Don't Read" or "Can't Read." I think it's "Don't Read."
Don't read. That's right.
Yeah, and so he was intentionally provocative with that title, and there's also a book as well, "Black People Don't Read," and they break down the myths of certain negative stereotypical statistics regarding black people. They ask people, are there more black men in college or in jail? And so the answer was supposedly there's more black men in jail. But when you break it down, usually people go to college around ages 18 to 25. All right, so when you look at men from all ages, men from ages 18 all the way to the time that they die, 70, 80-year-old men, okay? That's a larger age span. So, yes, there's going to be more black men in jail because you're looking at men from ages 18 all the way up until 100. But when you just look at ages 18 to 25, there are more black men in college because that's the college age range. So you see how you can play like tricks with statistics?
That's what I'm saying. So watch statistics. When someone throws a stat, before you believe it, you would have to double check. Even though they say you can do it yourself, it's like sometimes you do tend to believe it because it's like, oh, you may not take the time and you may repeat that because a lot of people know now this echo chamber is happening. So I'm challenging the echo chambers to say, follow your own stats.
Right. I mean, normal people with jobs don't have time to sit there and just look up vital statistics all day. So a lot of these content creators that throw out statistics and misuse it, that can be dangerous. And Pearl does that a lot. She has some statistic that said women only date the top 20% of men. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Where the hell did she get that? Yeah. Women only swipe right, like I think 20% of the time. And basically, her stats was that we all like the top 20% of men, and I'd beg to differ. I don't have time on my hands to go and figure out her sources and challenge that, but I just know that in college, this was a statistics professor. He said there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. So do what you want with that.
Do what you want with that. Yeah, just pay attention. That's all.
But yeah, we are still Team Hafeez. At least I am. I like that Hafeez is pro-marriage. I'm not surprised that the red pill community is coming for him because they don't want to talk about marriage and having families and everything like that. What they want is to have the men go in their own way and to further widen the gap between men and women. And
we can't have that. And I appreciate he's still speaking up on that on the platform to say, hey, because that's not the way of society progressing. And reasonable men would know that because you do need families. You do need marriage. You do need each other. I mean, he had another video we talked about where he was addressing that whole concept of that. And I think, so we'll
get into that, for another video.
Another time.
Yeah, he did make a rebuttal to everybody, like just going off on him. So definitely look out for that one.
Definitely. All right. So I am Shango.
And I'm Malika.
We out. Peace.
Peace.